Okay, looks like we're ready. Well, looks like the atheists and the skeptics and the Darwinists and all these people, basically people that doubt that there is a creator of everything, all these people that doubt the existence of a creator, God, they're it's too bad that they're wrong all the time about everything. I mean, everything that's worth anything to know. I mean, you get to spend all the time you want learning about stuff and stuff, but you're never going to you're never going to get to the truth. The truth that there is a creator. There's only one one creator of everything there is, because nothing can make itself, obviously. So if it's an obvious truth that we have a creator, then if you think there's something that's more true or otherwise true besides what's obvious, then you would have to prove it, since the obvious science is that nothing can make itself, nothing can guide itself, nothing can direct itself, nothing can program itself. So the obvious thing is that there's a creator who is greater than us, more powerful than us. That's the obvious truth. And these skeptics and atheists and evolutionists think they know better. Think they know better than God. They just they want to deny God, but they can't prove it. I mean, if they're going to deny God, then you have to come up with something. You have to prove otherwise. So if the going knowledge is that we have a creator, the obvious thing is that we have a creator, and you don't think so, then you have to prove otherwise. You have to come up with the evidence to the contrary. You know, you can't just make excuses. When a lot of people don't make excuses, with a lot of far-fetched ideas about radioactive dating and light years and all these far-fetched ideas, which probably they don't understand very well anyways. But they'll say, oh, friction will burn up the planet, all these far-fetched ideas, right? But these are just excuses, because we know, besides knowing that we have a creator, we know that there was there's just no other way to get any life. There's no other way to come up to any other conclusion. But we do know so much. These skeptics and atheists, they must go to bed miserable, being wrong every day, waking up wrong every day, every morning, living every day. They must be miserable being wrong all the time about everything, because we have a creator, and if they want to prove otherwise, then they have to come up with some hard evidence, contrary to what the evidence that we have. So they would have to come and prove that matter can make itself. You can falsify God at any time. People say, oh, you can't even falsify God. Science is what can be falsified. You can't falsify God, therefore science is not God. No, you can falsify God. Any time, any minute, any second of the day. All you have to do is show us some magical matter that can do magical things, amazing things, and magical morphin monkeys. You can show us some magical morphin monkeys. Random Green says evolution doesn't make sense. It just makes zero sense. Yeah, evolution, because you have, in order for there to be evolution, you have to get instruction or information or programming that's not there for it to be something other than what it was ordered to be. And then they say, oh, we're jumping to conclusions. No, we were ordered to be humans by a pre-existing written program or a pre-existing written word inside of us. We're ordered and directed to be humans, and we're constantly being recreated as a human until the DNA just goes haywire, and then we die. But that's because of entropy, not being able to be rejuvenated or not being able to maintain the information to be a human. Now they say that mistakes will cause minor changes and it will cause an evolution. But you have to have successive complementary changes to the written information, and you need billions of successive complementary beneficial changes. And we know that mutations just aren't able to do that. Mutations can only corrupt the information that's already there. It only corrupts what's there. So if they think they know better, then they got to come up with something better than Darwinistic evolution, because it makes no sense whatsoever. You can't get written programming by making mistakes that then have to be selected for. They have to be selected for. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Dan Carnell, PhD biologist. You can't get written programming by making mistakes. Plus, we have a history going back to the 16 grandsons of Noah. The 16 grandsons of Noah are what? The Assyrians, the Elamites, the Arameans, the Canaanites, the Lydians, the Cushites, the Egyptians, the Javan Sea people that are Elisha, Dodanim, Kittim, and Tarshish. These are known civilizations. Those are all descendants of Java. And then there's the Thracians from Tiraz. There's Tubal that settled in Italy. 8% of Italians in central Italy are still descended from Tubal. Then there's Gomer in Europe, descendants of Gomer in Europe. And there's Magog in Asia, and there's Meshech in Siberia. And that's everybody. Put in Africa, Cush in Africa, we already named Cush, Mitzrayim and Canaan, and the Hebrews, Arpachshad, Arabs, and otherwise Hebrew. I mean, you have to come up with an alternate known human history, which you can't. We only got one history. We only have one history. That's the only history we have. That's where we came from. We came from the 16 grandsons of Noah, which I just named off. And I don't think I missed any of them. So If you have an alternate history, produce it. If you have an alternate reality, produce it. If you have another explanation for flood sediment layers in 6 megasequences miles deep, if you have another explanation for that, produce it. If not, you have to go with a known human history. You can't be making up your own human history, your own origin. You can't make it up because you can't produce yourself, and no physical thing can produce what we are. So you're just denying the reality that's in your face. You're denying the facts that are in your face. And if you do that, then you're irrational, illogical, and unreasonable, trying to come up with an alternate explanation. Think you know better, think you know about millions and billions of years of history, trying to look for excuses not to believe what the obvious truth is. It's never going to work out. Your explanations, your excuses are never going to pan out. They will never pan out. They will always be disproved. Every claim of evolution is always disproved. Distant starlight is disproved because you have no idea how fast time is or what the measure of distance is, where there is no matter to slow down time or contract distance. So even if it was billions of years, which apparently it is, the light's still going to arrive within 6,000 years because the rate of time is faster and the measure of distance is a lot less than what it appears to be if we were to project our measure of distance and our rate of time onto the rest of the universe. It's just that simple. Every claim that evolutionists ever make will always be disproved. No matter what you come up with, it will always be disproved. Carbon dating. Carbon dating is more in our favor than it is the deep time. Carbon dating can only be accurate about 5,000 years, and that's about how old everything is with carbon. I mean, you'll always be disproved. No matter what excuse you come up with, you can't disprove known human history. We have a human history and a history that goes back to the global flood, which is the reason for the geology that we have, because there was a global flood that buried everything all in those sediment layers. And you can deny it, you can cover it up, you can hide it all you want, and you will never be able to disprove the fact that you have a creator, because you can't create yourself. No physical thing can create anything itself, can't even create itself or anything else. So we're still waiting for another better explanation than the known human history that we have and the known facts the scientific facts that we have, that matter cannot make or direct itself. Since matter cannot make or direct itself, I mean, you just have blinders and you only look where you want to look. You're denying all the truth. You're denying all the facts in favor for what you believe is a better explanation, which is no explanation. It's just excuses. It's just a bunch of excuses because you don't want to believe the fact of the global flood, the creation, and the creator. You want to deny the truth. You want to deny the truth that only your creator can be your helper. Can you be your help? There is no other help besides your creator. Your only hope is in your creator. You can't save yourself. You're going to die, and then you're going to be obliterated, and then there's going to be no more, and then you have the judgment. You have to face the judgment. And you have to be ashamed for forever. And you don't want to be ashamed forever when you could have all you had to do is just look what was right in front of you and believed it and not denied what the truth was. You don't want to be ashamed and disgraced forever. You don't want to be a laughingstock forever. which is what you're making yourself out to be whenever you're an atheist, skeptic, or evolutionist. You're going to be a laughing stock for eternity, forever. You're going to be a disgrace. You're going to be a pathetic disgrace for eternity because you wouldn't believe the obvious science and facts that are right in front of you. So we could go through all this evidence, and if you don't believe it, then you're totally lost. You're totally out of it. You're totally in a miserable state of mind because you're illogical, and irrational, and you're just denying the truth every time you come to it. You see a truth, you deny it, turn away. You look there's another truth, you turn away. You're just in denial. You're living in denial of everything there is, of all the truth there is. But anyway, I could go through it and show, your denial of science, your denial of geology, denial of archaeology, all the archaeological discoveries of Israel, your denial of biology, that you're everybody's descended from the 16 grandsons of Noah, your denial of the haplogroups. You're in denial of everything, all the facts. It's just a shame that people can't face reality, can't face the truth. Well, let's have a balanced view. Just because they're atheists now, maybe they won't in the future. Yeah, right. You always have to hold out and for the possibility that someone can change their mind. Someone could change their mind. It's always a possibility. Even the most staunch, ardent atheists or skeptics, you have to hold out for the possibility that they can change their mind. They can be convinced of the truth. That's what we're here for. We're talking what the truth is, and with the hope that the truth will speak to them and they will respond to the truth. We're not responding to us. They're responding to the facts and evidence and the truth, which is a person, which is God. They have to respond directly to the Spirit of God, the Spirit of truth, in order to be saved from being ashamed and disgraced forever. But people have reasons why they want to reject God. But you have to just let go of all the reasons that you have for rejecting God. Just believe God, face the fact. Instead of living your life in denial, live your life with a clear conscience and satisfaction of knowing the truth. Because you will never have a clear conscience. You will never know the truth if you keep on denying the existence of your Creator. Because you can't create yourself. No physical thing can create you, because there's no such thing as magical matter. That's idolatry. And you have to come to the knowledge of the truth and confess the truth and tell the truth. Otherwise, you'll be ashamed and disgraced forever. It's just that simple. It's not complicated. So, like I said, I could go through all the evidence again, show all this evidence, which is a little bit tedious and sometimes boring and everything, but we could still go through it and talk about it, and maybe somebody might be convinced, that everybody really is actually descended from one of the ancient civilizations that I just named: the Assyrians, the Hebrews, the Arabs, the Arameans, the Elamites, the Lydians, the Cushites, the Egyptians, the early so-called Phoenicians, and the Canaanites. One of the Canaanite tribes went all the way to China, the land of Sinim, and the D haplogroup of the Canaanites is still there. The descendants of Nimrod are all throughout Asia. The C haplogroup is still there, all throughout Asia, all the way to America. You have the, you know, it's just so obvious that the C haplogroup goes all the way to through Central America, all the way to South America. And it's the reason why the Olmecs look Polynesians, because maybe they have the same exact ancestor in common. The Polynesians have a C haplogroup, C2. Central Americans and South Americans, they have a haplogroup of C3. Nimrod is their common ancestor, because the house of Nimrod is the only explanation, because he's the only Hamitic haplogroup in Asia besides the Canaanite tribe that went to Asia all the way to Japan as well, which is a separate Hamitic haplogroup. It's a D haplogroup instead of a C haplogroup. But it's a separate lineage compatible with the E2, which is the Canaanite haplogroup, as far as I can tell. And if anybody can correct me on any of these haplogroups, I'd be willing to listen. But you can't deny the J1 P58 is the colon modal haplotype, so which identifies Arpachshad, the lineage of Arpachshad. Then you can't deny the J2 being the Judaic descendants of David and Solomon, especially the J2 M172. They're one big J2 family that's probably the descendants of David and Saul, the house of David, just like the house of Nimrod. House of Nimrod has a huge C group. The house of David is J2M172, which is they only call the house of so and so a house of so and so when it's a huge group of people, huge group of descendants. And so you identify the colon modal haplotype as being J, which is a tribe of Levites, J1, which includes J1 also includes the Arabic population and other Hebrews, whatever other Hebrews, but the J2 is definitely the Judaic or the Judaic tribe, descendants of Judah. And then there's a whole bunch of other tribes all over, including the I haplogroup that goes all the way up into Europe and stuff like that. So, I mean, this is the evidence that we have. We have the evidence that's right in front of us. You can't deny it. If you do deny it, you're denying the truth. You will never be satisfied, because you'll always be in denial and irrational, illogical, and you're going to be ashamed and disgraced forever. You're going to wish that you had listened, and in order to have satisfaction, and the satisfaction of knowing your Creator as well, having a personal relationship with your Creator, which there's nothing better. Who else are you going to have a relationship with? Everything, any other kind of relationship with any other thing is going to be irrational, illogical, confusing, and deceiving, deceptive, and because it's called the deceitfulness of sin. Like all the nations have always been taken away, drawn away from the truth by the deceitfulness of their sin. So they get caught up in immorality and this and that and the other thing, which deceives them. Any sin will cause you to become deceived, not understanding, not knowing the truth. So that's why you have to guard your heart with all diligence, because out of your heart comes the issues of life, the truth, the issues of life, the reality. So I guess that's it for right now. God bless. I was hoping maybe to have a discussion with Grayson sometime, but apparently he hasn't answered my email for the second time. I mean, he answered once, but he hasn't gotten back to me since I answered. Anyways, God bless everybody. Take care. Stay in the truth. Stay in Jesus, which is the truth. It's the only truth. God bless. Take care.